We're back here at the Viola Arena. I'm delighted to be joined by returning Cardiff Devils player Josh Batch. Josh, this will be your 10th season in Cardiff upcoming. Back all that time when you first signed back in the Big Blue Tens era, did you ever envisage you'd be here for 10 years?
No, definitely not. It makes me feel old, first off. But yeah, back then I was just happy to, obviously it was my first year back in the UK, I was just happy to have a job here. Didn't really know what would happen, if I would last past Christmas or what would happen really, but yeah, it's flown by now thinking about it, but been 9 good years so far and a lot of good memories, and obviously been lucky enough to win a few championships, so it's gone better than I ever could have expected really.
What is it about the club and what is it about the city of Cardiff that has made you settle so well and for so long?
A lot of things really. I think the city sort of speaks for itself. There's so much to do from in terms of culture. There's like a lot of history around. You've got a lot of, you've got nature one way. You obviously got the city where there's a good nightlife, all those kinds of things that go along with a big city. And obviously along the way I've made a lot of friends. The fans have been great, and I think it just sort of feels home after being here so long. And yeah, and there's not really anywhere else I'd rather be, so lucky enough the Devils have wanted me to stick around, and I've been happy to stay.
Let's just skip back a little bit to those sort of early Big Blue Tent years, and you cut your teeth under the tutelage of Gerard Adams and Neil Francis.
Yeah.
What did you learn from those guys in those early formative professional years?
I'm not sure my memory serves me well enough to say. Yeah, but they both taught me a lot. Obviously it was coming into professional league was a big step up from where I was. So they between them and some of the other players, they really showed me the ropes, and yeah, it was just such an eye-opening experience. So I didn't really see much professional hockey growing up either. So outside of watching the Super League and stuff, where I was a fan of the London Knights. I actually went back and had a deck of player cards, and Gerard Adams was in there. So that was good.
Did you get him to sign?
I didn't actually, but yeah, they just kind of obviously Gerard was really played the game the right way and stuck to the basics, and that's kind of something I moulded myself off earlier in my career. I think we were actually D partners for a few spells, and obviously yeah, I always stuck up for his teammates, which was something I always admired. And obviously I didn't get to see Franny play, but I heard stories and seen little bits here and there, like through old clips, and he was a really heart and soul type player, which is something I really admired as well.
What do you think has been the biggest change that you've seen in the league over these last 10 seasons?
Oh God, everything, a lot's changed. I think the standard of the players gone up, coming in from abroad. I think now it's not uncommon to see players with an NHL experience, like KHL. And I think back in like 2011, my first few years, that was like almost unheard of. So you look at the caliber of player. Obviously, I think just the standard of the league has gone up. You look at how well the teams are doing in the CHL now. I don't think that would have happened back then if we were in the league in the CHL then. And from a Cardiff point of view, I think the organisation's transformed massively. Obviously, the new rink was a big part in that, to give it a more professional feel, and the new ownership group then have kind of transformed how the club's run from the ground up. And I think we're just one of the best treated teams in the league now, which as a player, it's all you can ask for, because it kind of takes your focus away from other distractions and
Absolutely.
Lets you focus on the game, which is what we're paid to do.
You mentioned the CHL there. As a player stepping into that for the first time a few seasons ago, did it meet your expectations? Was it a lot tougher than you expected? How has that experience been for you as a player to make a jump up in a special competition?
Yeah, that was fantastic. Obviously, some of the teams we played against are teams you sort of grow up hearing about in the big leagues in Sweden and Finland and Switzerland. So then to actually play against those teams was sort of had to pinch yourself at times. I remember playing with, for Lunda especially, to play with them in NHL when I was a kid. So then to be playing against them was like a bit jaw-dropping at times, and obviously like how well they did everything was just mind-blowing. But yeah, it was interesting to see how we stacked up, and we managed to hang in there. Obviously won a few games last year, and yeah, I think it was really a career highlight for me just to be able to say you competed with those top teams in Europe, and I think we played against some guys that have gone on to the NHL, which obviously is great, something to tell the grandkids one day, hopefully.
But hey, you're in NHL now.
Yeah.
You've been in, I think, was it the last 4 years that
Yeah.
has been represented? You must have played.
Yeah, I don't actually have a games console, but obviously I've been tagged in a few pictures from mates and stuff, and that was really cool to see. Actually, obviously playing hockey growing up, you play the NHL games, and you always think you're gonna, well, so you hope that one day you'll be in the game because you're in the NHL. But although that didn't happen, it's still nice to see myself in there, even if my rating was a bit lower than I would have hoped.
Well, that'll change this year, I'm sure. We'll put a word in with the A.
Yeah, we'll see.
For your career, you started as a defenseman. You've settled into a forward role these past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
How have you found that transition, and having had a good taste now at both positions, where do you see yourself as more comfortable moving forward?
That's a good question, really. Well, I think the last year or so, I've sort of felt more comfortable as a forward, just gaining more experience of the positional requirements and some of the timing involved. Because as an outsider, you might think, oh, forward and defenseman, it can't be that different. But the things you do on the ice, it's almost like a completely different sport. I also had to learn how to turn going forwards, because as a defenseman, you're always pivoting, turning backwards. So it was a bit of an adjustment, but Lordo helped me a lot with through going through video, and having systems in place kind of helped me establish what I need to do. And playing the guys I've played on lines with, we've sort of tried to keep it simple, and we sort of bounced off each other well in that respect. So it's a tough decision, tough to say where I feel more comfortable. Had some time on D this year and on the penalty kill, which is good, obviously, to help out in that way. But yeah, there's things I like about both, things I prefer about both as well, as opposed to the other one. But as long as I'm playing and helping out, I'm happy, really.
As a forward, you've spent a lot of time playing alongside Matthew Myers,
Yeah.
and you two seem to have a lot of chemistry, and you know the work rate of your line is always, you know, seemingly above sort of anything else in the league. Was it quite a simple sort of partnership that formed there with Matthew? How do you sort of find that? What's the secret behind the success of what you guys have done?
I think we both just like to keep it simple, really. I think we sort of have the same mindset of we both want to get to the net, which sometimes we sort of run into each other and have a little, all right, well, one of us has got to move. So I usually let him stay in front because he's good with tipping and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think we're sort of on the same page and try and keep it fairly simple. And yeah, I think that's kind of just worked for us. We sort of know what to expect from each other, so then it kind of makes it easier to know where the puck's going to go and that kind of stuff. So I think once you sort of have that understanding, it takes away a split second or two having to make a decision or try and think what might happen, because it's kind of second nature. So I think as the years have gone on, that's kind of developed and blossomed.
As a team, your aims are always to win as many trophies as possible, to sweep the board.
Mm-hmm.
Individually, do you set yourself any aims and targets? And if so, do you have any for this upcoming season?
Not too much. Obviously, I always want to try and improve in little areas. Maybe they're not always quantifiable, so it's hard to like put a number on it.
Mm-hmm.
And not being like a big goal scorer or anything, it's hard to really gauge some stuff. But that's kind of stuff that me and Lordo have discussed, and I've had pretty good feedback on. GB is one of the goals as well, personally. Obviously had some on and off success with that, but that's something that kind of depends, I think, if I'm playing forward or D. Playing D this year helped me get into the Olympic qualifiers, so that's one measure of achievement I want to try and engage myself on. As for this upcoming season, I haven't really thought about it too much yet, as one, I don't know when the league's going to start, and two, I'm not sure what position I'll be playing yet, so both kind of things I have to think about closer to the time, and once the coach is chosen, sit down and have a conversation and see what his plans are and go from there.
That leads me nicely on to my next question, actually. Andrew Lord has bowed out. There will be a new man at the helm. Are you excited for this new direction? Yeah,
definitely. I think obviously we've had a good run under Lordo. It was nice being familiar with all these systems every year. You come to camp, and as a returning player, you haven't got to think about all the different plays you've got to remember, whether it's breakouts, regroups, face-offs, D zone, O zone, neutral zone. It kind of it made coming to play a bit easier. But with that said, I'm looking forward to the new challenge, the new environment, just to see who comes on board and how they run things. It's going to be a good change, and it might be difficult adapting at first, but I think it's a challenge we all look forward to, and hopefully we can all adapt and take off. Start where we left off and get back to winning ways, hopefully.
Does it help that this core of guys that have been together now for 6-7 years?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to what I said about me and Matthew. You kind of know what to expect from each other. You know, if Joe, your dad's got the puck in the corner, he's probably not passing to you. He's gonna do his thing, cut back, and make some good plays. And I think everyone kind of knows what to expect from each other, which helps. And yeah, with having the same coach for so long, it made coming back, we were all familiar with the systems and that kind of thing. So I think that was definitely a benefit to us, as opposed to some of the teams that have higher turnovers of players. With a new coach as well, it's a lot for everyone to get used to and take on board, and then try and put that into action. So I definitely think that was one of our strengths in the years gone past.
Finally, Josh, it's it's a case of now you're, not to age you, but you're one of the senior players now of this roster. Do you kind of take that on board in the locker room? Are you someone who likes to be vocal in the locker room, or are you more still sort of an actions speak louder than words type of guy?
I still don't feel like one of the older ones. I think I would be on any other team, but I think I'm still towards the lower end of the age on our team. But yeah, I think a little bit kind of vocal. I think we have a lot of people who chip in the dressing room, which I think is good, because we kind of, you're not always hearing the same voice. We have a lot of leaders in that respect, which is good, and I think everyone tries to chip in where they can, whether that's on the ice with their actions, or in the room on the bench, like picking each other up and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's a good thing that we've kind of developed, is within that core group, and everyone that's come around also is a shared responsibility of leading and taking ownership of our own actions, and kind of performing to the best of our ability in that way.
And as a last question, last year you didn't get to finish what you all started in pole position for that league championship. Does it just make you that much more determined to make this year the year that you do bring the league championship back to Cardiff?
Yeah, definitely. That was to be so close. I think we could have potentially won the trophy the next week or the next 7 days. So to be that close was heartbreaking in a way, but yeah, it kind of just stokes the fire again for this upcoming season to finish what we started, and hopefully get that league title back, because it's now been like another year since we lifted it. So I think for myself and everyone else, it's going to increase the intensity and desire to get that back a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, we're all delighted that you're back, and hopefully we get on the ice sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're all waiting for that.